It's the Prius the green car activists have been screaming for since Toyota first invented this car. Now it's here in production form. Let's plug in to the 2012 Prius plug-in and check the tech. Well, here it is. 2012 production Prius plug-in. We drove a prototype a few months ago, but this is the real deal. Available now only in the West Coast and Northeast states. Why do you get a plug-in Prius? People ask me this question all the time. Here's the difference. It's got a bigger battery that you charge both by driving, like in a regular Prius, and also by plugging it in when you can. That's different than a standard Prius. The reason you go to all this trouble and put this bigger battery in is to get more electric range. A standard Prius can go a mile or two on battery only at low speeds. This car can go 11 to 16 miles on battery only at up to 62 miles per hour. It behaves like an electric car if you just use it around town. In fact, you might never put gas in this car if you have like a 10-mile commute each way that doesn't go beyond 60 miles an hour. Okay, the plug-in hybrid doesn't have anything different in the cabin than a standard Prius. We've got this head unit, which I call Entune Lite. It's the smaller screen. At this point in history, it only has Pandora and Bing from the Entune app suite. Later in 2012, they'll be adding things like movietickets.com and OpenTable. If you upgrade this car to what's called the advanced model, you get the better head unit we've seen before, which is more Lexus-like, and that already has all the apps in it, plus a bunch of other features come in that package. Now here's where you see your various energy monitors. Again, those are also found on the Prius, but you're going to see numbers here you're never going to see on a standard Prius, like that one at the bottom middle. Consumption. Average, over more than 300 miles, 61 miles per gallon. That's what a bigger battery's going to get you. And like the current third-gen Prius, you can also look at all kinds of historical averages, and you can enter the average consumption of your other car, so this guy will always remind you how much you're saving by driving it versus the one in the garage. And all these Prius plug-ins are nicely equipped. They don't make a stripped one, which is part of why the price is a little steep. We'll get to that in a minute. Your sources are going to include AM, FM, HD radio, satellite radio should you choose to activate it, and of course you got an optical drive up here, A2DP Bluetooth streaming, and of course Bluetooth hands-free for telephony. On a standard outlet, this battery takes 3 hours to charge from dead flat, or an hour and a half if you get a level 2 charger. Toyota sells you a level 2 charger with their partner Leviton for about $1,000 installed at your house. And of course, when you drive, you're also trickle charging the battery, but you need to plug it in once in a while to get the full benefit. When you lift the hood on the Prius, you're getting into a very different world. The motor is not that different from a standard Prius. The battery is, and the numbers that come out of it are also different. So, for example, the battery in a standard Prius is nickel metal hydride, 1.3 kilowatt hours. This guy has a more advanced lithium-ion battery, kind of a giant version of what's in your phone or laptop, but 4.4 kilowatt hours, more than 3 times the capacity, and a different charging and discharge behavior, higher performance. In combination with this 1.8-liter lean burn gas engine, like a standard Prius, you get 95 mpg equivalent while driving in electric mode. That means an equivalent amount of energy as gallons of gas turns into 95 mpg. It's this tortured EPA calculation. Or if you're running in hybrid mode, like a regular Prius, you get the same 50 mpg average. 134 horsepower, by the way. Torque, who cares? The bottom line is this car is not about performance, though it is slower than a standard Prius, something around 11 seconds versus under 10 for the standard Prius, partly due to a heavier battery, 123 more pounds of weight on this guy. But none of this really matters till we get inside, see how it rides and drives, and see what kind of consumption figures show up on that dash. Now, driving the Prius plug-in, you're just very aware that the engine's not kicking in. That's the main difference between this and a standard Prius. The ride quality seems about the same. I thought it was harsher when I first was driving the car. Today, I don't think so, not noticeably so anyway. But you're seeing that EV mode light there on the eyebrow dash on all the time, instead of for a half a mile or a quarter mile to go, and you can get into the throttle and it doesn't kick into the gas engine. It stays electric, like I said, up to 62 miles per hour. This button right here, though, will let you become a standard hybrid by pressing it. So you have HV or EV mode. Then, of course, there's Eco mode and Power mode, which operate the same as they do on other hybrids, including the Prius. Now, in spite of the fact that I've got a bigger battery and more electricity available, this is not a more performance-oriented Prius. It could be, but the battery's not used that way. They wring all the range out of it they can, not all the torque out of it they can, like, let's say, a Tesla Roadster does. So people ask me all the time, what's the payoff time on this car? I mean, we already know that a hybrid takes a certain number of years to earn back the hybrid premium. What about this one? It's an even harder calculation, because if your driving type is that which you almost never use gas, that's one entire calculation. If you run this car down a lot and kick into hybrid mode, that's a completely different calculation. Okay, let's price our Prius plug-in, $32,000 base. Compare that to the least expensive standard Prius at $24,000, pretty big difference. But the price on the most comparably equipped Prius is more like $26,000, so that narrows it down to a little over $6,000 difference for the plug-in model. On top of that, though, I'm going to add $7,100 to go CNET style on this car. I'm going to get what they call the advanced trim. That gets you the head-up display, adaptive cruise, hard drive nav, JBL audio system, all kinds of improvements, including LED headlights. It makes a big difference in terms of technology, and the price seems fair if you're interested. Otherwise, get one that's base, drive it relatively short distances, and you may not even know what a gas station is in a few years.